Hey everybody, Josh here. Forgive my voice. I have been on a whirlwind tour of the Midwest lately. I'm actually in Cincinnati right now, and the reason is that I've been directing a play that is currently up at Cincinnati Fringe called The Boy from Bon Tai. My friend Jeremy wrote and performed it. He's a brilliant pianist, and the whole show is about his life growing up in the Philippines and then Hawaii and then moving to the mainland United States, trying to become a professional pianist. There's lots of really cool audio-visual stuff. We've got this old TV from the 1980s that we put cartoons on, and this is something that we did also at Edinburgh Fringe last year. We're really proud of it. I think you're going to enjoy it a lot. So if you're in Cincinnati, please come out and see the show. There are performances on Sunday the 31st at 2:15, Tuesday the 2nd at 8:30, Wednesday the 3rd at 6:45, and Thursday the 4th at 6:45. I will be there for the performance on Sunday as well, this coming Sunday. So if you want to come say hey, I'd love to see you there. You know, don't be a stranger. Say hi after the show. And the other reason I'm in Cincinnati is that I am on my whirlwind tour of the Midwest en route to Chicago, because you may have heard in that announcement that we put out last week, June and I are doing our first ever ill-conceived live show in Chicago next week. It's in Lincoln Lodge, which is in Logan Square. It's on Thursday, June 4 at 7 o'clock p.m. And basically the gist of it is we are going to be giving you the talk. In terms of what that looks like exactly, how we're going to give you the talk, what you need to learn about your burgeoning pubescent sexuality. I wish I hadn't said that. You'll just have to find out. Now, this is an intimate space. There's only 50 tickets. We're already more than halfway sold out. So you're going to want to get on that as soon as you can. Links to tickets to both of these shows are down in the episode notes. Get them while they're hot. And now on with the show. It's the end of season 2 of Ill Conceived. All season, we've been analyzing the connection between natalism, the ideology that sees declining birth rates as the most pressing issue of our time, and Silicon Valley. So, how to close out? Well, you've asked, and it's time for us to deliver. We're finally talking about that couple with the glasses. My name is Josh Borman.
I'm June Sternbach.
And this is Ill Conceived, a podcast about natalism.
You know, I booked a hotel. I was like, okay, this seems like a nice place. I'm gonna looking at the reviews, good reviews, photos of the rooms, pretty nice. I got in super late the first night, passed out. Yeah, I had brought some food, you know, ate food on the bed like a fucking slob. Mm. And I woke up in the morning, accidentally knocked over, it was empty thankfully, but a Coke can on the ground by the end table. And I was like, okay, I got to pick that up.
Right.
Look around.
That's not that unusual of an experience. You knock over a Coke can. I failed to see what the issue is so far.
No, just you wait. Okay. I looked over to pick it up.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, dude, there was a fucking switchblade with a window basher like on the other side. So one side is a switchblade, a weed printed design, of course, because it has to be like the weed leaf design.
Of course.
Functional switchblade that like I swear to you, it's like exactly what you're thinking. I could bash out some windows. It's mine now. I'm taking it. It's my little New York souvenir.
That's a great souvenir. And definitely just make sure whenever you're going through any sort of transport security, just to be like, yeah, this is my fun knife.
It's my souvenir, I swear.
It's a real symbol of New York City. The way that it used to be.
I'm hardened. I'm hardened staying out here now. But no, that's my fun little switchblade event that I had. That's why I was like, okay, that was a great start. That was my very first full day out here, is I found a switchblade. Well,
it's interesting that we're talking about knives, because that is a point of commonality between you and today's subject. One half of our wonderful natalist couple that we're covering today, Simone Collins, it turns out she loves knives.
Yeah, you've done a lot of research on her. I guess you would know.
Yeah. Well, you know, I went.
She has a lot of history out there online.
Watch her old YouTube videos.
She likes eggs a lot too.
Today is going to be a lesson, I think, in the importance of a digital footprint. What does it mean? What does it do? Because we have sort of been gingerly stepping around this couple for quite a while, I feel like.
I think we mentioned them in the very first episode, and that might be it.
We talked about them briefly during the Peter Thiel episode, I believe,
and
although I don't know if
sure.
that stayed in the edit, and NatalCon, of course. If you have heard about just sort of the idea of natalism and, oh no, we need to protect the world from the future demographic, whatever, it may well have been in the context of an article featuring pull quotes from this couple.
They have really good PR. There's probably dozens, maybe even close to 100 different articles talking about this couple at this point. At least it feels like it.
It feels like it.
It feels like it. Yeah. They're everywhere.
When we started doing this show, I was like, oh my God, I cannot get away from them. And for the longest time, it was my policy. And I said this to you explicitly. I was like, we are not talking about this couple. We're not going to do it.
You were really hardline against it. Like when we started it, I think that you might have even said it on that first episode. Like, we're not talking about these fuckers. But the tables have turned. We're talking about them. It just actually made a lot of sense after digging into their past, where they are now, how they got to where they are. It actually is sort of perfect for this season of Ill-Conceived.
Right, because given the Collins connection with Bay Area natalism, which has been the thing this season, and given that in terms of, like, as you were saying, the press coverage, they're just out there all the time. It does feel like a logical place for us to get to, unfortunately.
This is torturing you.
Thank
you for putting this together.
It's kind of fun.
I've had a fun day and a half digging into this. I can't lie.
Well, that's the other thing is we got the opportunity, you and I, because you are in the Big Apple, baby, the greatest city in the world. We had the opportunity to hang out and do some of the prep for this together.
And it was really fun. We watched a lot of YouTube.
And before we get to those YouTube videos, you know what we got to do.
The famous mailbag? Is that what we're doing?
How famous are we talking?
I think it's the world's famous mailbag.
Yes, it is world famous.
Yeah.
Thank you, June. It is the world famous mailbag. I got an email here. It says, "Hey J&J, a friend encouraged me to check out Ill-Conceived, and I've really enjoyed the episodes I've listened to so far, and not just because of that banger of an opening song."
I agree. It's really fucking good.
Yep, not wrong. I cannot express enough how wonderful it is to hear non-conservative voices covering natalism in a manner that goes beyond, if the government would just support my pet cause, this would not be a problem, and or, actually, we're better off with crashing populations. You clearly understand how demographic collapse will cause some serious problems, given that it threatens major elements of society, ranging from city infrastructure to essential social services. The thoughtful way you're exploring the rising issue from a progressive angle is so refreshing. So this one was interesting. There's more, but this one was interesting to me because we don't get emails from, I guess, conservatives all that often. I think we make our approach pretty clear and our perspective. We're not trying to present ourselves as neutral arbiters. It's pretty clear that we're coming at this with a perspective.
Absolutely.
But again, I sort of was like, oh, okay, what's going on here? And the letter continues. If there's anything we can do to help you, as you work on your future episodes, please let us know. This includes trying to get you intros to people with whom you might want to fact check something, introductions to journalists who are covering demographic collapse and looking for additional sources to speak with if this is helpful to you, an insider's take on some facets of the movement you've covered as outsiders with an incomplete view, and if possible, invitations to those spaces to whatever extent we can secure them for you. Second, noting that, 1, your research is thorough and intentional, but 2, you don't exactly enjoy consuming some of the content related to subjects you're covering, I wanted to just send a note that if you ever decide to cover an element of the movement that would require exposure to our work, you can avoid consuming it directly by asking AI about whatever you need to check.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Not sure about that one. A lot of content is impossible to accurately research via AI and requires heavy engagement with primary source material, but not being carbon fascists, we go out of our way to make our content easy for AI to crawl, so queries on our stances/work/content yield pretty accurate summaries. Figured I'd say that, as I could imagine the general concept of us is like nails on a chalkboard to you, and the world is flooded with enough cortisol as it is. But again, thanks for covering natalism so thoughtfully and in an entertaining way. Cheerfully, Simone Collins.
She fucking emailed us. The Collins. When we first got this email, I think we probably like were screaming. We were like, this is insane.
Yeah, this is
really
a few months ago that we got this email.
Yeah, no, this is because I think I was reading this. I didn't realize who it was from at first. So I was like, what do you mean we? Nails it, like consuming our content. This is
you're assuming a great deal of familiarity.
Yeah, like who is this from? And then getting to the bottom, lost my mind at this. Really fucking weird that she's a fan. Simone Collins is a fan of us.
Yeah, well, shout outs to Simone. We know you're listening to this episode, and I hope you feel that we do you justice. I will say, just like right up top, it's safe to say that not only do we disagree with the Collinses, I think we find a number of aspects of their project and what they stand for to just be odious, like personally odious.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm not here to like do cheap dunks. I think it's important to analyze the way that they are attempting to present themselves. With that said, though, also, I'm not here to give them a fair shake. I'm not here to be like, well, what if their ideas are good? My thesis statement, I guess, just to sort of like give away the game up top for what I believe, because I don't think they do this very well. I don't think that they are very upfront at all about what it is that they are sort of saying and what their agenda is. I think that what the Collins whole thing is, particularly their media output and what it represents, is sort of like a soft fascism. It's like the top of the pipeline into becoming more and more radicalized. Some of their opinions are a bit heterodox to what you might expect for somebody operating in this sort of sphere of influence. But by and large, the narratives that they are propagating can only really lead you in one direction. And that direction is, in my opinion, fascist.
And just a note, I think, on this email, and I think it's really funny that I think we got this email from her. And, you know, I do appreciate, I guess, the praise we get, where it's like, I do think we are sort of very uniquely alone in a way talking about natalism in the way that we do. And I think that's why we enjoy doing it a lot, is because it's not a path not many people have taken, like in our sphere. But I think the way she reached out to us and both of them combined, because I'm sure they both probably looked at this before they sent it.
Yeah, or
like,
she might have just done it. She might have just done it off the dome. I mean, but the other thing was she sent this email kind of late at night, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, check when she sent it, which, like, deep respect. I am also a creature
absolutely.
of night.
No, this is not a criticism. This is actually, if anything, a vouch. This is one like equals one respect.
But I think this email and how she frames it and is sort of reaching out to us in this way is sort of indicative of how they are and sort of like their strategy and output too, of where it's sort of like, again, not to jump too far ahead, but I think a lot of this for them is more so the media and the content rather than the ideology.
Yes.
And I sort of get that from this email, where she is trying to invite us into this club.
Yep.
She disagrees with us on a whole fucking swath of issues, I'm sure. Absolutely. As we'll definitely get into in this episode. But she's trying to, this is like more or less an invitation into the club. You know, I think we got this email. I think we got on a lot of these people's radars during the NatalCon episode,
definitely.
Or after that, because
I was in Chicago.
It was really funny.
That's our last in-person episode.
Yeah. And, you know, we got this email from the Collins. I got followed by Bennett's Phylactery. I forget his actual name. On Twitter, he followed
Kevin Dolan.
Kevin Dolan. He followed me like the week of when that episode released. So a lot of these people like clearly are aware of us after we sort of started this like season. And it's interesting that we've always sort of had an idea that there was a lot of cross communication with a lot of these like NatalCon sphere people, but there clearly is. I mean, I think that's obvious. And they're giving us a peek into it.
And I think the way that the Collinses communicate with us is also maybe somewhat reflective of how they communicate with the media more broadly.
Yeah.
Where it's all about cultivating relationships with figures who they would like to promote aspects of their project.
Yeah.
Even if by promotion, it doesn't mean endorsement, right? It just means attention. It means exposure. I think that there is sometimes a tendency, particularly on the left, to conflate exposure with endorsement. But when you are talking about a project that is propagandistic, which I do believe their project to be, you have to be really fucking careful. And to be honest, that's another reason that I didn't want to cover them for a very long time. I don't just want to send more clicks over to their podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
So I guess with all that said, full disclosures out of the way, let's get to the primer. Malcolm and Simone Collins, who are they? We alluded to this up top, but if you've ever seen an article about natalism, you've probably seen them. They have a very distinct look.
Malcolm, I would say, looks like a youthful academic student.
Yeah.
Like the way he presents himself, the way he dresses.
Yes.
He's very, stylish, sort of. He knows how to dress himself fairly well. Yeah.
It's a little prep, too. Like, he likes wearing those varsity sweaters.
Oh, yeah.
And then Simone, her look has shifted. And we'll talk about the way that her presentation has shifted as the branding of the Collins family has grown more and more pronounced. But these days, she looks like an 1800s milkmaid.
Yeah, it's like the bonnet she wears sometimes, not all the time, from what I could gather. She wears that bonnet. She wears like very traditional long dresses, those glasses.
The glasses are actually pretty mod. They've got a real like 70s thing going on, big round glasses. But yeah, other than that, it's overall it just kind of looks like she recently fell off the back of a wagon on the Oregon Trail is the best way I can put it.
But they weren't always like that.
Nope.
And for context, I've read some of their pieces about them, different profiles. I just assumed they were sort of always like that.
Me too.
I didn't really think of what they did before, what they were doing with their life previous to what they do now, which is basically just a podcast and some speaking gigs,
right?
Essentially, and like some startups. I genuinely could not have conceived of where they were like a decade ago.
Yeah, and it turns out that there's a very easy way to see at least what Simone was up to, because the YouTube channel where they host their podcast, she's kept all her old videos up. So if you type into your browser right now, http://www.youtube.com/@Simone and Malcolm, and look at videos sorted by oldest first, you're going to see her attempt to become a lifestyle influencer roughly 15 or so years ago.
Looks like it, yeah, like early 2010s. Yeah. She was just sort of being an average YouTuber. She was She was just doing like lifestyle, sort of dating tips, just even like, I don't know, random, just kind of fairly random, in line with what YouTubers were doing back then. Like people like front-facing camera sort of deal. Some
of it's just like walking around stuff. Like there's a video of her at a grocery store in, I think somewhere in Europe, where they have under the like ethnic food section, a USA section. And it's like, whoa, it's all Hellmann's mayonnaise and Swiss Miss. This is crazy.
I think it is notable, though, that it wasn't just like random uploads. It was pretty clear after we watched a fair bit of these videos that she sort of wanted to make a maybe not a name for herself, but she thought of herself as like a YouTuber. Yeah. She was sort of putting out this brand of this person that wanted to sort of be a force on YouTube.
In early 2010s, this is still very much the vlogger era. And so what being a YouTuber at that time meant was getting in front of the camera and being like, I've got some tips for you about how to be extroverted even when you feel like an introvert, like that kind of thing.
Hey there. So in a separate video a little bit ago, I just explained really simply what it means to be an introvert, which basically is that you need to be alone to recharge your batteries. But what if you are neither an introvert nor an extrovert? What would you be? Well, the answer is you are an ambivert, which means that you show characteristics of both introverts and extroverts. Now, some people engaging in the whole introvert-extrovert discussion, like Carl Jung, who was one of the first people to really bring that to mainstream consciousness, and the Myers-Briggs people.
And she did that quite literally. That was one of her videos.
It's a couple of her videos.
She talks a lot about, she used to talk a lot about extroversion and introversion and ambiversion.
Yeah.
I didn't know that one. I actually learned something from her.
This is also where we get the knives. Numerous videos of her showing off her knife collection, which she's got some cool knives. There's also like travelogues. She goes to Japan. There's some videos of her time in Japan. which was where she was born, by the way. And
I didn't realize that.
This was another thing that I started to look into, was sort of stuff about her history. And I was able to patch together a little bit of what she was up to before the YouTube channel based on things she's said to the press and in the podcast. Basically, as she describes it, her family were like real hippy dippy types. They referred to themselves as born again Buddhists. Which,
her parents were awesome.
Yeah, they were like real San Francisco hippies, it sounds like, and moved to Japan, which was where she was born, but the relationship didn't work out. It was a failed polyamorous marriage.
Ooh.
And she actually moved back to the Bay as a baby. So she did not grow up in Japan. She grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. And the cultural expectations that she speaks of were grounded in, I mean, have you ever met people who like grew up in a true liberal bubble?
You know, I don't really think so.
Okay.
Maybe here and there. I mean, I know a couple of people that have very liberal parents, but not in like the way where it's like they're the stereotype of like the liberal hippie family that like did land acknowledgements. Nothing like quite like that. But you know, I know people that have very liberal parents, but not to this degree, I don't think.
Right, because it's less to do with her parents specifically being liberal and more to do with the fact that the entire environment she grew up in was sort of this, at least as she describes it, unquestioning consensus cultural liberalism, which you've only likely ever experienced if you grew up in very specific parts of like Seattle, San Francisco, New York, maybe a little bit of Chicago.
Yeah.
There aren't that many places that are truly like this.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not the average, I think, experience in the United States or maybe even the planet anywhere.
No. But if you look at this and you hear her talk about this, you sort of start to get a sense of her perspective on the world now, which is, I would describe as reactionary. She's definitely a conservative and a conservative with reactionary tendencies because so much of the perspective is, well, I grew up with all of these unquestioning beliefs about the world around me. And then when I interacted with other people in other contexts, I realized that there was more nuance to the world. So in a weird way, it sort of parallels my own experience growing up evangelical Christian in a pretty heavily evangelical Christian bubble and seeing what the world around me was like once I started using the internet.
Absolutely. I mean, I think so many people, especially in the age of the internet, have that same experience. Where for me, I mean, for you it was evangelical Christianity, but for me it was like not super religious, but I grew up Catholic. I grew up in the church, and then I started questioning. I saw a different world. I found queer people. I met queer community, and it's sort of I mean, I relate to her in that way where it's like if you aren't around different universes of people, you just don't know, and then you'll be like in your mid-teens and be like, wait, there's like different people out there.
But it's particularly acute when literally everybody believes the exact same thing, and not only do they believe the exact same thing, but they feel this sense of cultural enforcement of these ideas. And so the idea of simply being a heterodox thinker in contravention of some of these core beliefs is in and of itself exciting.
Right. Oh my God, absolutely. This probably sort of maybe not liberating, but it was she's very intellectual. I mean, I think I think the thing that we've come to realize over the decade of her digital footprint is she's always sort of been like thinking. She's a thinker. She's quite intelligent. And
just to jump back to the early 2010s again now, where we find her with this YouTube stuff, I think it's fair to say at this point she is the ultimate Quirk-chungus.
Oh my God, dude, yeah. She's Quirk-chungus. She was involved in theater somehow at some point.
Yes. Big theater kid energy. And I will say, for me personally, it takes one to know one. She's got theater kid energy.
I couldn't believe one of the videos that is still on her channel. She was hitting TikTok faces.
She was like TikTok posing
10 years before TikTok even became a thing.
A true original. She was born in the wrong generation.
Burn the land, boil the sea. You can't take the sky from me. Do 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 do. Learn it.
There's no place I can be since I've found serenity.
Like, this is one of those things where it's like, wow, she is just like, I know so many people like her. Like, not now. She is a totally different person now these days, but the person...
Or at least presents as one, certainly.
Yeah, but the person that she was in these early YouTube channels, it's like, I knew, like, this was half of my high school. Like, she was really chungus, really quirky.
She's got a video of her doing a cover of the Firefly theme.
Yeah, it's fairly good. It's fun. I love it. These early videos are quite endearing. I can't lie. We were watching some of these and I was like, wow, I would hang out with her here, like at this point of her life.
One of the things that she also frequently talks about that's a longtime personal struggle of hers that informs her politic is that as a teenager, she really struggled with self-image. That led to a struggle with anorexia. And this had long-term health effects, including negatively affecting her ability to get pregnant. Now, I should note, she's got 5 kids now. All of them were conceived via IVF and delivered via C-section. But those health scares and just her relationship with her body seems to also inform some of how she sees the world.
Especially like these days, it'll sort of tie into some of their quite reactionary beliefs about different groups of people that we'll get to a little bit later.
So she ends up sort of discontinuing the channel in that particular incarnation.
There's a lot of eras. There was seasons of her online presentation.
And this is what we can refer to as her Chungus era. It concludes in September 2012. By this point, most of her videos are about like how you present yourself in a social setting and like dating tips. Those are kind of her big things. I think it's also worth noting, she is autistic, and that's another thing she frequently talks about. Again, that's just something that sort of adds an interesting little bit of texture to this point of like, if you are an autistic person, the idea of being able to perform socialization can feel very difficult.
Absolutely.
And what I see in these videos is somebody's just trying to like figure it out, trying to figure out how to present in a way that is quote unquote normal in a world that is somewhat difficult to navigate.
And it seemed like she had a lot of fun in this era.
Yeah.
I think she really enjoyed making a lot of these videos. I have to say, this is probably my favorite of her eras online.
It's also like going from the comments, which are also still up on these videos, both her comments that she is leaving, as well as the comments that other people are leaving, and then she is like replying to those comments. It seems like she's getting what she wants out of this, just in terms of like finding an audience of people who feel that sort of like parasocial affection toward her. And again, I gotta say, that's low-key relatable for me.
I get it. I totally get it. Yeah. The interesting thing I think that we'll sort of come away with, at least maybe Josh, you and I came away with, is she's sort of even in all of her eras, like politics aside, personally like identifiable as like a figure. Like I get her. I sort of get her whole deal, aside from the crazy politics and the whole like natalist aspect of it and her reactionary views. But her personally, I'm like, I sort of understand her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if we had met in college, we probably like would have hung out.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Or maybe not. I don't know. You can't know for certain an entire person based on the way that a piece of themselves is presenting online. But to hear Simone tell it also, she considered herself to be culturally liberal and thought about things in that more egalitarian liberal way up until she met her eventual husband, Malcolm.
And I do think there are so many instances of people lying when they're like, I used to be a liberal, like the classic Tim Pool, where it's like, well,
no, you didn't.
No, I sort of do actually believe she's one of these people, especially because she has this long footprint where some of her videos, again, this is not like, this was a liberal position like 40 years ago, but she seemed very thoughtful about things like recycling, like very standard, very basic liberal things. Like if she was a liberal, she was very baseline, like standard liberal, which I believe. I do believe that.
It's less to do with having a distinct and developed political philosophy and more that when you are younger, you tend to just sort of carry with you the politics and understanding of the world that you grew up in. And hers was very liberal by virtue of growing up in the Bay.
Right.
And that final video, the end of the Chungus era being September 2012, is just noteworthy because, according to her, March 2012 was when she and Malcolm started dating. So let's talk about Malcolm, the other half of the couple, shall we?
Absolutely. Oh my God, I can't wait.
So this guy comes from some pretty real and serious money. And he does certainly come across that way, but like, I don't think I really understood what kind of money we were talking until I looked into him.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So his great-grandfather was a man named Carr Collins, that's C-A-R-R, and he founded a company, an insurance company called Fidelity Union Life Insurance.
Like the Fidelity?
Not Fidelity Brokerage.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
This is a different company.
Okay.
Fidelity Union. And this quickly grew to be one of the big Texas life insurance companies, headquartered out of Dallas. And it was acquired by Allianz, which is the big fucking German bank, in 1970. And actually, in downtown Dallas, the Allianz Tower is like right there. And that legal entity, a big piece of that, is the former assets of Fidelity Union.
My God.
And his grandfather, Malcolm's grandfather, Jim, the son of Carr, actually served in the U.S. House of Representatives for Texas's 3rd District for like 2 decades,
Jesus.
1968 to 1983. Now, in terms of things that are noteworthy about Jim, I'll just read you a quote here from his 1989 obituary from the failing New York Times. In his congressional career, Mr. Collins opposed school busing to achieve integration and increases in government spending, except for weapons or for projects in and around Dallas.
Oh, that seems really bad.
Sounds like a pretty standard Texas Republican, if we're being honest.
In the 70s, being against integration, that's like recent.
Well, busing was kind of the fight of the 70s. So it makes sense. It really makes sense.
Wow. Oh my. You know, I got to say, I'm not super surprised, especially after seeing him talk a lot, that he sort of came from this perspective, this background. Yeah. I would have assumed just that he sort of maybe went on a very similar journey. He doesn't seem to talk about his past very much in the podcast, but now with this context, I'm like, he was probably always a low-key conservative or high-key conservative, I think, his whole life.
He describes himself as having been somewhat more liberal in the past. I call bullshit.
Yeah.
I think that if you grow up in a family of old-line Texas Republicans going back multiple generations and your family has a fortune in life insurance, I think that's just going to probably lead you to have very specific ideological priors. Now, one piece of his biography that he talks a little bit about, but not a lot about, is that when he was a kid, his parents were also divorced when he was 9. At that time, he was sent to a camp for troubled youth.
Oh.
He compares it to like the camp from Holes.
Oh my God. I know a couple of people that went to the troubled youth camps, essentially. And did he go to one of the ones where they essentially kidnap you in the middle of the night and ship you off to like Utah?
So his description of the experience is in a podcast episode that is behind a paywall. And I didn't want to pay money to subscribe to their Substack. But I mean, it sounds like it was a fucking shitty experience. It sounds like it was a bad time.
Yeah. Everyone I know who has ever gone to these troubled youth camps, regardless of quality and type of one, it's a very traumatizing experience for everyone involved.
I mean, particularly, I can certainly imagine being like, if you look at the guy now, like, he is not a huge dude or anything, right?
No.
And if you are the kind of person who is smaller in stature and less like, big, strong, masculine, like even as a preteen, you're going to have a bad fucking time at a place like that. Like even a worse time than your peers. Everybody's going to be having a bad time, to be clear.
Yeah. I mean, his family seems really fucking strong conservative values. This is sort of what I expect of very conservative families.
It's the kind of family that's going to send a kid to a troubled teen camp.
100%.
Or a troubled child camp, I guess, in this case.
Everyone I know that has been sent to a troubled teen camp personally is like a queer, gay youth with conservative Republican parents, generally.
But he does eventually manage to, make his way through high school. He goes on to college in Scotland, actually. He gets his undergrad from St. Andrews, which is the oldest university in Scotland. It's a pretty prestigious one. and then goes back to America and gets his MBA from fucking Stanford.
Ground zero for evil.
This is the thing I've learned from this season, genuinely, is like, I knew Stanford was bad, but I don't think I realized just how fucking bad.
It seems to be, it really is so many connections here. I mean, not even just Stanford, but we didn't even like mean to focus so much on the Bay Area. It just sort of happened. We would be like, oh, this person's sort of interesting. I wonder what they're up to. Oh, they live in the Bay Area and they know everyone we're talking about also currently.
Well, because we talked about this as well in the Peter Thiel episode, and the way that sort of, and the Elon Musk episode, and the way that the PayPal mafia developed. At the end of the day, these are scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire point of a scene is to get in, get connected, and start networking with other people who are doing the kind of shit that you're doing.
Yep.
But it's not like, say, a theater scene or a punk music scene where everybody's making cool art. It's an entrepreneurship scene where everybody is dedicated to building the stupidest apps you ever heard of so they can get their big exit.
It's all about those connections and money. And Malcolm in particular is really keen on it. And, you know, Simone as well. I mean, some of those early videos, I think we're going to get into some of her work history, but a lot of, she was sort of in this financial scene at the same time as her YouTube, her first era of YouTube was going on.
And I have not found a podcast or an article where they specifically confirm this, but I am like 90% certain they met on OkCupid because they both talk about how much they love OkCupid. And there's even a video where they're walking around and Malcolm is talking about how he was going on dates on OkCupid at the time that he met her. So I'm almost certain it was that, which also adds another interesting texture because, of course, OkCupid, the whole pitch of that app is it's like, oh, it's the data-driven dating app.
Oh, so I've never actually used OkCupid personally. I don't know much about it.
So the idea is you fill out these surveys, and you can do as few as, like, I want to say 20 questions, but you can do hundreds if you want. And the app will show you potential matches with a percentage likelihood that you're going to be a good fit, or a percentage overlap in the answers to the questions, I guess. And so the idea is, if you're the kind of person who is very interested in dialing to these specific things that you consider to be important for a good match, the data in the platform can sort for those matches and present them to you.
And that makes sense. The way I think they talk about their relationship together, they were really intent on finding sort of the perfect person. And I don't know if they go into it deeply, but they have multiple times mentioned how they found each other because they were like perfect for each other.
And Malcolm actually says in one of their joint videos, which we'll be talking about in a little bit, how he was going on as like 5 dates a week for like a year
That's
plus.
Crazy, dude. he's fucking efficient. He is.
I mean, if true,
he's date maxing.
But
actually, he was date maxing.
But actually, I don't think he's lying. I think he's telling the truth when he says that.
I know someone like that like is that active all the fucking time. Yeah. No, I believe it.
So the first indexed online mention of Malcolm and Simone as a couple is from August 2013. So again, per a comment that I was able to dig up on Simone's Reddit.
She's a Redditor, of course.
Of course. She started dating him. Their first date was March 2012. So this is a 1.5 year long-ish courtship. They're both like 24, 25-ish.
I think so, from our estimation, yeah.
And the way that we find this is in a Huffington Post article by Malcolm Collins that was made to their contributor platform, which is like a blog, basically. It was like their blog platform. Because at that point, remember how like there was that period in time in the early 2010s where it was like you could post a blog anywhere, and like all of the different sites had their own blog roles that you could post to.
It was sort of the golden age of like online writing.
So the article is called "How I Proposed to My Girlfriend on Reddit."
Dude.
And what
They're
he did,
a Reddit marriage. They're a Reddit marriage.
What he did was he commissioned 21 pieces, fan art pieces, from 18 deviant artists.
They used DeviantArt.
To be clear, I'm not saying that the artists were deviant. Maybe they were. I don't know.
No website.
What I'm saying is that they were artists who were posting on DeviantArt.
They Okay, hold on. He proposed to her on Reddit using DeviantArt art.
That is correct.
They are such dorks. They
Yes.
are, and I say this
It's
sort of
endearing.
lovingly. It's lovingly saying they are fucking nerds. They're dorks. They're fucking like losers, and in the best way possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what he did was he posted these pictures to like different subreddits with the idea of like, oh, one of these is going to make it to the front page.
Right.
And that's what happened. Although weirdly, it wasn't the picture, like one of the actual fan art pictures. It was these shitty fucking advice animals. Remember advice animals?
How could I forget? That was huge. That was like the first era of meme.
And June, I want you to look at these advice animals real quick, and I want you to describe these memes, these great memes.
So you have a selection of 9 here.
Yeah.
The first one is forgive me, it's been a while. I grew up on Reddit.
I don't remember their exact names.
I don't remember either, but it's the one with the baby doing the like
fist pumping baby.
Fist bump baby.
Yeah.
It says, how I feel every morning since you moved in with the fist bump baby.
That's right.
The next one is that's
Keanu.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves, the shocked face.
Whoa, yeah.
What if you were perfect for me?
That's
because
top
you
text,
have,
by the way. Very important because these are advice animals. We need to clarify top text, bottom text.
Top text, what if you were perfect for me? Bottom text, because you have been secretly stalking me for years? Okay.
Okay.
This next one is what's that animal?
Sad sloth.
Sloth, that's a sloth. Top text, when I asked for your parents' blessing, bottom text, they didn't say yes.
Damn.
Amazing. So this is Lord of the Rings Boromir. Is that Boromir or is that Faramir? Can't remember.
No, that's Aragorn.
No, that's not Aragorn.
Isn't it?
Is it?
That's fucking...
Oh shit, that is Aragorn.
Yeah, that's Aragorn.
I'm a dumbass.
I don't even know Lord of the Rings, and I know that's Aragorn.
I genuinely, low-key, I always thought that was Boromir.
That's fucking Viggo Mortensen. Yes.
That's Aragorn.
Yes.
Okay, I was wrong. Maybe I don't know my advice animals as much as I thought I did.
You better. One does not simply learn a meme or whatever. I don't know how this works.
So this one, yeah, top text, but one does not simply, bottom text, walk into marriage. I mean, I guess that's true. This one's fun. This is
now for a fun one.
This is Futurama character. What's it?
Zoidberg.
Zoidberg. Top text, husband. Bottom text, why not Sir Technocracy? So
right.
What is Sir Technocracy?
Well, because her Reddit account was you Lady Technocracy.
And
so he wants to be Sir Technocracy.
I love that. This is sort of, when we were looking at these before, I was like, oh, they both have matching names on Reddit.
Well, but I think he changed his name to match her name.
I could be wrong. We might need to verify this. I don't think you could change Reddit usernames until like a year ago.
Okay, so he probably spun up his username to match hers when he posted.
I think so, which I think is interesting. I think that's notable, honestly. Yeah. As simple as a Reddit username, matching Reddit username, I think that's notable because, again, I think there are some more advice animals. Do not worry, I will read them.
Thank you, June.
But
I know our listeners are at the edge of their seats.
Yeah. But I think the thing that's notable, and we will see this continuously, is that they really, really wanted to be famous. They really, really wanted to have a public persona facing media presence.
I think it's that. And I also think something that we'll notice is that Malcolm has a tendency to attach himself to something that Simone has already been doing.
Absolutely. And just to expand on that a little bit, because the reason I think this is notable is that he posted a ton of memes and their marriage art across dozens of, maybe not dozens, but a lot of different subreddits, and wrote the article talking about himself proposing to her, linking and talking about those Reddit posts. And it's sort of, I mean, Reddit's not easy to fucking game. The algorithm, especially at this time, was fairly easy to game. But all
back
of this
then,
together,
but also, I mean, in terms of Reddit and what it was back then, the sheer amount of traffic, it truly still was the front page of the internet.
Absolutely.
Back then.
And I think, this is my theory, they, of course, probably would never confirm or deny. I think this was a very intentional attempt to sort of to create like a moment online of like, wow, these are these two amazing people. I need to follow them and find their YouTube channel and see what they do.
Well, because at this time, the big thing that they were working on together, and we will get back to the advice animals, dear listener, don't worry.
Yeah.
They were at this time getting a new startup up and running. And so that Huffington Post article, for instance, in the byline, it says right there, Malcolm Collins, co-founder of corgi
Art corgi.
Art corgi, which we'll talk about art corgi in a moment. But I think you're right. Like, this is an attempt to be like, oh, the Reddit proposal couple, which I'm sure somebody remembers. There is a fucking page on Know Your Meme about it.
Yeah.
But I don't think it stands out in the internet's collective memory as a meaningful moment. But I bet for a little while, most Redditors did remember it.
And to give credit, this was a savvy move. I
Yes.
mean, it did sort of work a little bit. I don't think necessarily how they intended or as big as they intended, but it did make a little splash. Like, it sort of works. They knew what they were doing. I think that's what they did on purpose. Okay, back to the advice animals, though. That's very important. So this is this is the biggest part of the episode for me. South Park. I don't know. I've never watched South Park. Don't know the name of this character.
I
It
don't
looks
know
like
who this
the
character is
principal.
either.
I think the principal says, "I used to have reservations about marriage," and they're gone. That's a good one.
And they're gone being the bottom text,
And-
of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, my bad. I forgot to lay out the images. And then this is the Dos Equis guy. Top text: I don't always propose. Bottom text: but when I do, I prefer to use Reddit. They were both huge Redditors. This is from Game of Thrones. This is top text: brace yourself. Bottom text: a ring is coming.
Right.
Mic drop.
Right. Damn true.
Yeah. And then this is the duck. The duck. I guess there was a duck advice animal. I don't remember this
guess.
one. And then this one I don't understand. Top text, but first, bottom text, click the link below.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there either. But
So he was a real meme savant.
It's very funny that Elon Musk still posts like this.
He does, yeah.
Fucking 14 years later.
To their credit, the Collinses don't do this anymore.
No, they don't.
No.
So this moves us into the next phase of Malcolm and Simone Collins, the happy couple. They're a power couple.
I love that brand for them. They're really happy.
And the happy couple is the name of a YouTube channel they spun up. So this is what's kind of weird here is that I don't know if maybe the happy couple was the name of videos that they had on this channel, the one that still exists, but then they took those videos down later. Or if it was another YouTube channel which they had spun up and then later spun down. What I can tell you is that I tried my fucking damnedest to find these videos for the happy couple, and I was not able to do so.
No, either they took it all down or they just never did it. There's a real possibility they just didn't ever make these videos.
But here is the introduction that they have talking about what they have been up to in the interim period. And again, you have to remember, this is the first video to show up on Simone's channel in like 2 years.
Wow. It has been a long time since I have uploaded anything here, and that's because a lot has happened. For example, when I first was posting videos here, I had this mission to fall in love and have my heart broken in 1 year and learn how to date.
Very odd.
And then
Never
I
heard
met
of
this
that
guy, and I fell in love with him. He broke my heart. And then something really unexpected happened. We decided to get married, and we're going to get married in summer of 2015. And we also decided to start a business together. So I quit my job, and he
Married in
quit his other
less than
plans,
2
and we
years of dating.
started an art commissioning business called Art Corgi. So we do actually make some videos related to that if you want to still see stuff by me. Our channel about our startup and what we've learned from starting our own company is called Startup Style. And we also have a channel about how our relationship started and what we've learned from that. And it's called The Happy Couple. So if you want to get more updates from the weird girl who you once saw videos from, you can do so by subscribing to both or one of those channels. Again, it's Startup Style and The Happy Couple. But say hello to the people, Malcolm.
Hi everyone! I'm in both of these.
He's excited.
As
the
he's so
new
happy.
player.
Yes, he's the new character. We'll see if you like him.
Who talked her into doing videos again because I loved this channel so much. And
He loved
so
the
now
channel.
he's
He was a
in.
fan.
I
Maybe?
still always
Big
see it
fan.
on YouTube and I'm like, I want, why aren't there any new videos? And I'm like, oh yeah, because I live with her.
Hence this video. So I hope you've been doing all right and life is good for you. And always feel free to drop me a message if you want to say hi. I'm around.
You know, so that was like the first introduction of Malcolm and Simone as like a power couple.
Right, and-
they started this business together. They started apparently they have three at this point. They have three different YouTube channels,
right,
where he seems to have really leaned in and encouraged her to start making videos again.
And that startup style channel, by the way, is that is still up. Those videos are nothing. It's really boring. It's like, here are tips for how to have a schedule.
You ever like work at a warehouse or something and they show you like safety training videos that you have to sit and watch for an hour and a half? It's no different from those. It's torture.
Except it's
material.
like even more boring because you're not learning anything actually useful.
No, it's
as opposed to like OSHA compliance training where you're at least learning, how to make sure that you fold the ladder and put it away properly.
It's just pure jargon, and this is founder
This
slop.
is Stanford shit, is what it is. Genuinely,
Yeah.
This is spinning the channel back up, which was very much her thing.
Right? Yeah.
But now it's Malcolm being like, "Hi, I'm here. I'm going to be here from here on out," and that's exactly what happens. To be clear, I'm not saying you can't fucking make something with somebody you care about.
Often that happens. You find a creative partner that you're like, fuck, we like really get along well. Or like a partner in life, you fall in love. It's like, we have this creative energy that we can do stuff with. That happens all the time.
But what the thing is here is now fundamentally different. It has changed completely. Malcolm at this point, in terms of his like appearance and his overall thing, you can sort of hear in the video, he's a lot more sing-songy in terms of how he talks, his overall affect.
He's like fairly flamboyant, I would say.
Yes.
Like he also reads to me very theater kid. In a real sense, I think he has always desired sort of to be watched and thought of as like an intellectual or some sort of figure appreciated by the masses.
For someone who is so obsessed with gender and sexuality, which is something that we are going to come to see more and more of as the Collins output progresses, specifically talking about their podcast and stuff here. His earlier presentation, to me, reads as not traditionally masculine or cis-normative or heteronormative in any meaningful way.
Josh, can I be a little honest? I mean this with as much love.
Yeah.
I consider myself a little faggoty. I'm a little bit of a faggot. I think, I find myself in a very queer, transgender, homosexual world. Those are the people I surround myself with.
A very different world from the world that the Collinses talk about in their podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. But I just have to say it, dude. He codes a little fruity.
He codes very fruity.
He does. And I don't mean
especially
that as an
early
insult.
On. No, God, no.
Early on, I think that's really good to note, especially early on. Pre-podcast, even in this current era, like modern day Collins family stuff, but especially early on.
Yeah, it's like all of this was something that because we watched this stuff together.
Yeah.
And I think we were both a bit taken aback at just how, as you put it, like fruit-coated he is here.
Yeah.
Because when the project that you are subscribed to is one that only provides a limited space for that sort of thing, I find it striking, particularly going back to the thing that we were talking about earlier about like what it would be like to be a little boy in Texas, presents a bit less masculinely than the other boys, right?
Yeah.
What does that do to you? What does that do to your sense of identity? But weirdly, in these early videos, particularly that video, I see a person who, to my eye, I'm very much on the outside here, right? But to me, this looks like a man who is more comfortable with himself and who he is than what I see when I look at their more recent output.
Yeah, and especially like, again, this is reading into what they have put out, of course, but when they talk about their marriage, it's like, we got married really quick.
Right.
We broke up temporarily and then got married quickly, and they talk more about each other as a business partner and a power couple more than I think like lovers necessarily.
Yes.
Or it's like
when they talk about their love, it is almost never in the context of like, I saw you and you were so fucking hot and I immediately wanted to jump your bones. What you hear about is mutual respect and admiration. You hear about the importance of them sort of keeping each other on track for their professional deliverables in the way that they challenge each other intellectually. Yeah. All of which I think are really fucking important things.
And personally, I value that a lot.
Absolutely.
In my relationship, absolutely. So we're not knocking them personally at all on this.
But it's so odd that a couple that is so deeply connected with a cis-het normative conception of how reproduction ought to work speaks of their own relationship like this.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And this is not me saying that their relationship is like wrong.
I think they absolutely love each other.
I do too.
Yeah.
Everything I have seen indicates that they love each other very much. I don't understand what their deal is, though, if I'm being 100% honest with you.
I don't quite
and
either.
I don't have to.
So, they fell in love. They started businesses together. Tell me about Art Corgi. What the hell was this?
Okay, so I'm not quite sure. But it is apparently the company that they did the engagement thing on Reddit in part to boost.
Right. At least it seems that way.
I think so.
Yeah.
So Art Corgi at its core was a platform where artists, digital artists specifically, could set up a little storefront and commission work from fans. It's the sort of thing that might be useful, for instance, if you were, say, going to propose to your future wife. Maybe there would be, 18 different people that you could commission for such a project.
Oh.
Now, it would be really cool, in my opinion, if you could just, rather than having to, go to deviantart.com and find all these different artists to commission them individually, what if you could just do it through one unified website that was already configured for e-commerce? Folks, that's the pitch of artcorgi.com.
I mean, that makes sense. It's a business that's like early. It's still early social media. Social media was developing, but I think that in the art space, that was something that was well needed at that point. There was a lot of digital artists that wanted to make a living off of that.
And then this adds another weird little bit of texture to the proposal itself. It's like,
here's all this art that we commissioned, and also in the byline, here's our art website that we want to pitch to people and sell eventually.
If you maybe wanted to get some art commissioned for your loved one, interesting, right?
Yeah.
And this is the thing about them that feels constant to me as well, is that there is always an eye toward a market. And the markets are different, depending on what phase they're at. At the beginning, in her Chungus era, Simone's market is other creators. In fact, there's a brief period of time where she tries to spin up basically a trade guild for creators, like a YouTuber trade guild.
Yeah.
That doesn't really go anywhere. It ends up getting rolled into another startup that she tries to get off the ground. Art Corgi, though, to me, it's very clear that this proposal was almost entirely a marketing stunt.
Yeah.
Which isn't to say he didn't get proposed to in real life. Obviously, he did.
Two birds, one stone, though.
Because, hey, it promotes the business. And so to the point of the business, I was able to look up their profile on Crunchbase, which is where you can see numbers about all sorts of startups. They received their seed round, which was $200,000, from an accelerator called 500 Global, and this was the thing that fucking blew my mind. Andrew Bosworth, a.k.a. Boz, the Facebook guy. Do you remember in 2016 when there was like a big internal struggle over like where Facebook should go and to what extent they should be monetizing people's data?
Yeah.
And then it was exposed that there was like this internal letter that was like, we should basically just do whatever the fuck we want because the ends justify the means.
Absolutely. That was Boz?
That was Boz.
So he's sort of really Maximus, sort of typical of what we see in Silicon Valley today, just sort of a profit over everything.
Yeah, I've actually got a quote from that letter here. That's why all the work we do in growth is justified. All the questionable content importing practices, all the subtle language that helps people stay searchable by friends, all the work we do to bring more communication in, the work we will likely have to do in China someday, all of it.
Wow. Okay. So the Collins really... They broke into this really high level Silicon Valley market pretty quickly from here. It seems
it's just Stanford. I think.
Okay.
I think it's just the connections that they were able to make through Stanford, and especially Malcolm having that Stanford MBA that opened so many fucking doors in the Valley.
Everyone loves a racist anti-bus integration grandfather too. That's
right.
a big deal. Yeah.
If you love the racist anti-bus integration grandfather, wait until you get a load of the grandson. And so that's, again, is 2014. And at this point, the YouTube channel goes silent for 6 years.
Wow.
The next time that we see stuff showing up on the channel is March 2020. So this is, of course, a pandemic special. I'm sure you remember that in March 2020, literally everyone was like, God, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
Especially people who were not working service industry jobs and literally had nothing to do, had to figure something out to stave off the boredom. And what they do is they spin up the channel again. Now, this time, it's a new format. It's called A Pragmatist's Take. For me, these videos were the most interesting look into like who they are as a couple, or at least who they were at this point. They've had their first baby, first of what will eventually be 5, and they're in front of the camera just kind of like walking around in most of these.
Yeah.
And it's clearly semi-scripted, but these are just like ideas conversations, man. It's like, what about the red pill, man? Like, what about that?
And this is because of a market failure. If you look at the Gini coefficients, that's sort of when you look at economic inequality, the US dating market, specifically through Tinder or Hinge, has, for men, has the economic index of I think one of the top 5 worst countries in the world in terms of economy. It's like an active civil war for men. Now for women, it's closer to what would be the Gini coefficient of living in Canada or the UK.
So obviously men are much worse off. And speaking of economies and Gini coefficients, that's one of the reasons why I really liked the red pill from the beginning, was I'd never really heard about dating or dating dynamics, relationship dynamics, discussed in economic terms, in terms of market value, in terms of just fairness and unfairness, and how to win the game.
People stripping away all the BS and just saying, okay.
I think the best way to summarize a lot of these is just either, again, some of them were about relationships and communications, but also just things happening in the world.
Yeah.
And they are the pragmatists. They are level-headed,
right,
very centristy brained individuals who are just yapping about the world. I think is like basically what encompasses what the Pragmatists Take series was.
Yeah, we've got the Pragmatists Take on altruism, a Pragmatist's Take on how sitcom laugh tracks ruin dates.
Real.
I'm
always having that problem.
Yeah, same. A Pragmatist's Take on talking with Octavian. That's the name of their baby. A Pragmatist's Take on Calvinism. A Pragmatist's Take on hate being nice. They could have workshopped that title. And this just feels like the stuff that we were all doing in 2020.
Yeah, bored, not really knowing what to do. Even if you did work, I mean, no one was going outside really for a while. When you did, it was... Right. I mean, everyone remembers the era where you probably got lunch with another person in your cars with the windows down, talking at each other that way. So it's like, this sort of makes sense. This wasn't very long-lived, though. They put out a lot. There's actually a lot of these videos. I think this is probably podcast era, pre-modern.
Yes.
This was their
before
most
the modern era.
Dense text.
Yeah, the Pragmatists Take era it only spans March to May of 2020. What I do note about these videos, though, there's really a couple things. First of all, Simone has now more or less found her signature look. She's found the glasses.
Oh, those wonderful, those great glasses.
And Malcolm is pretty close to his signature look. In a few of these videos, he does have those rectangular frames that he is now known for.
They're real close to peak.
We're getting there. The key purpose of all of this, though, again, because they've always got something to sell you, is that they also have an ebook.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In fact, they have a series of ebooks.
Oh my God, what were they?
It's called A Pragmatist's Take.
Oh, that's really convenient that their series of videos is also the name of their book.
Isn't that interesting?
That's really cool. That's really convenient.
Wow.
So what are they about? Are they just sort of like the same sort of conversations, or not even conversations, just sort of like thoughts about different topics?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't spend the 19 cents for the Kindle edition, but...
It's not cheap, though.
It's really cheap. But from what I was able to see, it's pretty much just quotations from Malcolm Collins, right? We've all read quotations from Mao Zedong, right?
Of course.
I know you're a doctrinaire Marxist-Leninist. So what if it was just Malcolm Collins' thoughts on everything?
He has a lot of thoughts.
He does.
He has a lot of opinions and thoughts.
I'd say he's an ideas man.
He's really sort of an evolution on the Dave Rubin.
Folks, as this episode progresses, we're going to start getting meaner and meaner. But we're doing it because we start to see, in my estimation at least, the stuff that they're saying start to become more and more odious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think at this point it's odious. It is a little pilled. And I mean that very literally. Like, they've got that whole video about, well, what's the deal with the red pill? Mm-hmm. A lot of this pop psychology stuff and like internet pop psychology stuff mostly boils down to, some people think this, but other people think that. Who can say?
Yeah.
And to me, when you are creating a piece of published rhetoric that is giving a fair shake to half-baked and authoritarian opinions, I think you have a duty of care to your readership to clarify what it is about these things that you find specifically interesting and meaningful and why.
Yeah.
Rather than just saying, well, here's what they think. Because yeah, we know what fucking red pill people think. Like, they think that there's a marketplace of sexuality. They're the victims of failed marketplace. And like, all of these things are things that lead you down the path to radicalization.
And if you, like, as someone who has an audience, does not properly handle these topics, that's a disservice to yourself, to everyone. And like, I mean, the greatest example, one that sort of pushed me on the path, I think, specifically with religion, was like, why would, like, people in the South, even still to this day, Southern right-wingers in, like, Texas, for example, want to teach creationism in school. And it's like, well, and they're like, okay, but we'll teach evolution and creationism. And it's like, well, those are not equals in terms of, like, intellectual weight. One is completely fictional and fake. The other is, like, scientific and historical.
Well,
like,
if you think that's bad, just wait until you hear what these people think about the institution of slavery.
Oh, no.
The people in Texas,
God.
I mean, not the Collinses.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, that's good. That's good. But I think you're right. I think sort of this is... They have, and, in her solo era up to now, have sort of just put out stuff very bubbly, very happy, sort of just like basic person on a vlog format.
Right.
Sort of pseudo-intellectual for some of it.
Now they're interested in sort of exploring the big questions of the world, and you can read some of the answers in their fantastic books, now available on Amazon.com ebooks, right? That's the idea here.
Yeah. It's all about their brand.
It's branding. And I don't know if the Pragmatist Take series has anything to do with this, but in February of 2021, Simone gets a job as the full-time managing director of something called Dialogue.
Wow.
We talked about this one. You remember Dialogue?
You reminded me earlier. I didn't at first, but this is a fucking Peter Thiel fucking company. Because of course, all of these fucking people are always connected somehow. Barely, just for a little bit even, but just always fucking connected to the fucking Peter Thiel.
And not even a company, really. It's like his special secret social club. This is how Simone describes Dialogue on LinkedIn. Dialogue is a private, invite-only society founded by Peter Thiel and Orrin Hoffman, where best-in-class professionals and thought leaders, I love thought leaders, and I love being a thought leader, convene for closed conversations and in-person retreats to discuss pressing issues in a secure, off-the-record format.
We see that a lot in these reactionary spheres, I think. We see at NatalCon specifically, where there is the really high level sort of pay price to get in these like backroom conversations.
I mean, Simone did tell me in an email, she followed up to that other email. You remember she did tell us that she could just let us know what happened.
That's true.
Maybe we didn't take her up on it, but maybe we should.
Maybe we should. But
I'm sure she'll tell us literally everything. Probably. I'm sure she won't obfuscate anything.
Oh yeah, no, not at all. They're very honest if we know them very well.
Yeah, they're not hiding anything, I don't think. No.
But I mean, that's sort of the thing though, is like for a long time, I think a lot of these reactionaries on the far right, especially in the Peter Thiel world, in this tech sphere, until about 2023, were very scared to just sort of go balls to the wall reactionary until Elon Musk, I think, really changed the game on what these public figures, especially in tech, could
when
do.
you're talking about when speech became free on X.com, the everything app.
Of course, when comedy became legal again.
Yeah, Blazer Glory.
Yeah. But so dialogue, she described it as an invite-only society. Is it just like a social hangout? Like, what the fuck is this thing?
Yeah, it really is just like a glorified social club. It's analogous to stuff like the Bilderberg Group.
Sure.
Right? It's an invite-only thing where people who think of themselves as very interesting get to have other very interesting conversations with very interesting people. It's a lot like, you know what, another example of this, probably not at the same level as dialogue, but remember in the Jeffrey Epstein episode when we talked about that org that was like that fucking book publicist who was pretty much entirely funded by Jeffrey Epstein, and his thing was that annual summit?
Yeah, where they just sort of talk in a, like, no cameras, no journalists room, talking about ideas and just like the biggest questions facing society. And it sounds like that's what this is also.
Yeah.
Again, as far as we know,
as
Jeffrey
far as we know,
Epstein. Other than Peter Thiel's direct connections to Jeffrey Epstein. Other than those.
I'm pretty sure that if Jeffrey Epstein was in dialogue, there would be evidence of it in the files.
I think so. But yeah, I think it is interesting that the Collins got noticed by this level of Silicon Valley. I think that is a really notable thing, especially going forward. They have surrounded themselves with, as we have gotten to know Peter Thiel and his whole world of people he collects around him very well, is they are very red pill, reactionary, far right, builds over every person's individial rights. That is immaterial to them. It is about progress, technological and monetary progress. And he and that org brought the Collins into their world.
Exactly. And Simone only worked there for, well, actually a little less than a year. She wasn't there very long. Like, her LinkedIn profile shows that she left Dialogue toward the end of 2021. So she was a relative blip in the existence of this organization.
Yeah.
Actually, it's been around for like 20 years, I guess, which is something I didn't realize. And per an Axios article in August of 2025, it actually has been seeking, as of late, a permanent campus in D.C.
Wow, so like a real legitimate secret society.
They want to have a little clubhouse in D.C., presumably near like K Street or something.
Dude, I really can't stand these fucking people.
No.
They are so self-interested, so like, wow, we're the smartest people of all time. They would be selected on Mr. Beast's smart team.
I selected the 20 most intelligent industrialists in the world and brought them to my secret island, Little St. James.
That's just a little idea for you, Mr. Beast. You can take that from us. We're not going to do anything with that one.
Another thing that I notice about both Malcolm and Simone is that they are very status oriented.
Absolutely.
And they will say this openly. Like, they will talk about how they are interested in, like, having parties with the most interesting people, the most intelligent people, the most high status people. Because, and again, this is a bit of a spoiler for later on, they are fundamentally eugenicist in outlook.
Yeah.
They do believe that there is a group of people who are the best people, that a good bit of what makes them the best is coded into their DNA, and that it is by connecting with these fellow Ubermenschen that they will be able to drive the world forward.
Yeah, and even in some of the more like wholesome, general, pre-modern era Collins, they would talk often about going to different parties, their social battery at these different events, but still it being important that they go to these events, connect with these different people. That was sort of at the forefront of pretty much everything they did, aside from just like general relationship content together at that point.
And to be fair, like, this is how the Bay works. Like, if you want to get ahead in tech, as with any scene, like I was saying before, you got to connect with people and you got to do it in person at parties.
And I guess this is maybe a blind spot for both of us. I don't think it's a bad blind spot to have, because I think the Bay Area tech mindset and society is disturbing and disgusting and is really bad. But I guess if you're born and grow up in that fucking space, that's sort of what you know. You're sort of primed to be this kind of person, and I think it's bad. I think it's horrific. I think it turns people into reactionaries when you think of the world like this.
Yeah, because it's a purely transactional conception of interpersonal relationships.
There is no real personal value of other people other than what they can do for your business, for your startup, for your status.
Right. Because then, like, why bother to be friends with somebody who doesn't have the same financial standing as you do? And it's so strange, too, when you consider all of the lip service they pay to the idea of being in a more diverse community. That includes life experiences. That includes socioeconomic circumstances. But if you are traveling in these circles, you're going to be frozen out of the opportunity to even interact with these people.
Absolutely. And not, to call back from our world famous mailbag for this episode, I mean, you can sort of get that sense from her still today.
I agree.
Like, thank you for writing that email. I love when everyone writes mailbag questions to our email at illconceivedpod@gmail.com.
It's the best.
It's wonderful. But
doesn't matter who you are. That's the other thing. It's an equal opportunity mailbag. I don't care who you are. I might read your email.
But like, I feel like that is so illustrative with her email,
Yes.
the way she talked to us, the way she offered things to us. We could provide you these things. We could introduce you to these people. She was offering us a leg up in status, frankly. Yeah.
And I think that she was probably also reaching out to us, perhaps in part because of your social media presence and that sort of thing. She probably saw the show as a target worth cultivating from a PR perspective.
100%. That's a huge piece as well, I'm sure. And I think, at the time when we first got that email, I think we sort of low-key knew that's sort of what that was. But I think doing a lot of diving into their lives pre what we know of them today, I think it just all really fucking comes together here. So that was their third era. I think we're on their next final ultimate era that we know of them as today.
It's like France. They keep founding new republics.
Yeah. It's like Taylor Swift. She has her different eras. It's the Collins different eras.
Yeah, and unlike the Fourth French Republic, the Fourth Collins era is a lot more fascist than the era that came before it.
Oh, God. Yeah. This is some real, dude, I gotta be honest. This is some real, like, fucking disgusting dog shit content. Like, content aside, it's just dog shit content, I think,
just
generally.
as content, purely as, like, a show.
Yeah.
Based Camp fucking sucks donkey dick.
It's so bad.
It's a bad podcast that starts poor and eventually moves on to becoming unlistenable. And I want to be even-handed here, right? I am treating this as a critic of media. And I think we were very intentional about talking about the pieces of the stuff they were making in the past that we kind of liked and found charming.
Yeah.
There is very little to like here.
Hello, Simone. I'm excited to be here with you today. Today, I am genuinely excited because this theory has completely changed the way I see our society today. This is one of the big ones. And it is so explanatory to me of so many things that I didn't have a good explanation for. For example, why did the left so quickly and over the very explicit time period that we are looking at completely abandon?
And just like everything else, this new podcast, this Based Camp exists as a deliverable that they can promote in other appearances. Because the other thing that happens in 2023 is they start getting interviewed by a lot of outlets about natalism.
This is sort of where everyone, I think, is vaguely aware of the couple with the glasses.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first sort of big article to feature them is actually in Business Insider at the end of 2022. But the article that puts them on the map is in The Telegraph, the London newspaper. April 19, 2023. This is going to be the first of many, many profiles of the Collinses. And this article hits like all of the beats of every article that we have ever read on this show about this. It's the standard framing. But I think something that the Collinses realize, and people who are connected to the natalist movement more broadly realize, is that establishing the narrative needs to be done early on, because sort of the window of what acceptable opinion around the thing becomes so much of it is about the initial, you want to plant your narrative flag very early on so that people are talking about the issue on your terms.
Absolutely. That's really important and something that sadly right-wingers, conservatives do really well compared to Democrats, especially Democratic politicians, more establishment.
Yeah, because
the Democratic politician establishment is usually always reacting to the framing from that conservatives put up. And conservatives have that infrastructure to constantly put up new acceptable ranges of conversation where the left will always be reacting. And that's in politics, very useful, especially for narrative building.
And the points in this Telegraph article, if you are a listener of our show, you could say these bullet points in your sleep. But, people in tech are worried about the future of the species. The UN predicts global fertility is going to fall below replacement rate in the future. By the year 2100, we'll be all out of Bort license plates.
Bort license plates?
I made that joke last week, too, but I just felt like making it again. From The Simpsons! From The Simpsons!
I've never watched The Simpsons.
What?
I've watched an episode or two, but I've never, consistently.
You don't know the Bort license plates joke from The Simpsons?
No, I don't.
Okay, so The Simpsons go to Itchy and Scratchy Land, right?
Okay,
Itchy and Scratchy Land is the Itchy and Scratchy themed amusement park.
Yeah.
At the gate, they exchange all of their money for Itchy and Scratchy money, which is like regular money, but fun.
Right.
And as soon as they get inside the park, they learn that Itchy and Scratchy Land does not accept Itchy and Scratchy money. Then they go to the gift shop, where there is a range of license plates, like those little, novelty, tiny license plate.
Yeah.
Look at all this great stuff, Elise. Cool, personalized plates. Barclay, Barry, Bert, Bort. Oh, come on, Bort? Mommy, buy me a license plate.
No, come along, Bort.
Are you talking to me?
No, my son is also named Bort.
And then as the kicker, later on, we see the big control room of Itchy and Scratchy Land.
Mop and Bucket Man to the exit of the Nauseator.
We have another jumper in the roof of TGI McScratchy's.
We need more Bort license plates in the gift shop. I repeat, we are sold out of Bort license plates.
And so whenever I hear about these concerns, all I can think of is they are so concerned about running out of Bort license plates. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
I mean, I do know why, but
they are really fucking good at hitting the beats. I feel like the Collins probably are part of the reason why we're talking about a lot of the topics.
Yes.
They were sort of the beginning of a lot of, I think, the public perception of natalism as a topic insofar as modern politics. Yeah.
Because from here, they end up on a tear. And I don't, for a long time, I was like, they must have a good publicist. But I don't think they actually do. I think that they do all their own PR work. I could be wrong about this, but again, getting that email from Simone helped me understand how she operates a little bit better. I think she has a deep Rolodex of media figures, some of which she probably cultivated during her time working for Dialogue. And also then after that, she was working for Eric Schmidt's organization for a while, the Google guy,
right.
Former CEO of Google.
I mean, we do know, they are really business minded. They are really fucking, I think they really are just really intense business partners.
And they understand, I think uniquely among this kind of person, that mainstream media coverage that is curious in nature is one of the best ways to get people into the top of your funnel.
Yeah.
It's not by doing advertising, and it's not even about getting people to talk about the thing that it is that you are selling, which at the end of the day is their fucking shitty podcast, right?
Yeah.
What it's about is presenting themselves as subject matter experts that are readily available to be talked to and can also furnish connections between different individuals, both in the media landscape and their own sort of social network.
We got another email. Sadly, we missed this email from a journalist at an outlet probing us for some of our thoughts about a topic related to natalism. We sadly missed it.
Right.
I think we were just both busy, totally flew under the radar for us. But we looked back and found it, and this journalist who reached out to us, who I think is wonderful, we're not being antagonistic here, they found us through Simone Collins.
Yeah, they said Simone Collins gave me your info.
And that
which, first of all, which is, honestly, that's fucking crazy because we never replied to her.
No. But
we never replied to Simone. She sent us 2 emails. We did not reply to them. And now here she is saying to journalists in mainstream legacy media, hey, you should check out these ill-conceived folks. They really know what they're talking about. That's crazy to me.
And like, I guess I appreciate that. I appreciate anyone recommending what we do because I think we love this. We do love that. But when it comes from people like her in the sphere that they occupy, very fascistic reactionary spheres, it feels weird.
Yes.
It feels weird, dude.
It does. And what feels equally weird is how many outlets they are able to get coverage in. Because, I mean, I got my list here, right? The Guardian, the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the BBC, the ABC. That's not US ABC, that's the Australian Broadcasting Corporation.
Right.
And again, if you've read one of these profiles, you've read them all. The Collinses are a couple that work in tech, and they have these young children with goofy names. Malcolm is brave enough to sound the birth rate alarm. By the way, remember Elon Musk and Sam Altman and Peter Thiel and other tech moguls? Well, they're also worried about this. Sure sounds like a trend. You know, people like this, including Malcolm and Simone, for instance, often use IVF, and they select specific embryos for implantation. Sounds like it might be eugenicist. Well, bye. That's every fucking article, right?
It is, yeah. It really, like, they're so brave. They're so brave to talk about the birth rate. God damn, dude.
But there's one article from this batch that contains a notably different beat. And this is Jenny Kleeman's article from The Guardian, May 25, 2024.
How useful has Elon Musk been to their movement? Fantastic, Malcolm replies. I mean, the most powerful, most wealthy person in the world advocating for your cause helps a lot. Within this time period, he's our version of being the king or something. He's to an extent disconnected from... Torsten has knocked the table with his foot and caused it to teeter, to almost topple before it rights itself. Immediately, like a reflex, Malcolm hits him in the face. What?
That's Torsten. That's his son. That's his son who at this time is, I want to say, like 4 years old.
Oh, I don't like that. Oh my God. That's really bad, dude. Okay, I'll continue now. It is not a heavy blow, but it is a slap with the palm of his hand direct to his 2-year-old son's face that's firm enough for me to hear on my voice recorder when I play it back later. And Malcolm has done it in the middle of a public place in front of a journalist who he knows is recording everything. Torsten whimpers. In a restaurant, you gotta be nice. Malcolm says, I love you, but you gotta be nice in restaurants. No, Toasty. What?
That's his nickname for Torsten, is Toasty.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, Toasty. You're going to get bopped if you do that. Hey, can you help me with the iPad? Octavian says, handing it to his father. None of this is remarkable to any of them. Torsten soon stops whimpering. Smacking is not illegal in Pennsylvania, which is where they live now. But the way Malcolm has done it, so casually, so openly, to such a young child, leaves me speechless. Dude, I had never seen this one before. That is honest. That's disgusting.
Yeah, I'm going to go on the record. I'm going to make a brave statement. I don't think you should smack a little kid in the face. That's just my opinion. I think there's also something really surprising about him parenting in this way, given that we know that as a kid, he was not treated well. Now, when he defends it on the record, Malcolm, what he says is, well, it wasn't a slap, it was a bop. And this is something that I do, and I only do it for kids who are like not able to verbally communicate yet. And I only do it in situations that are like an emergency where I need to immediately intermediate to prevent something bad from happening.
I mean, I don't know if anything bad was happening
here.
Well,
a table was about to fall over,
That's
Jude.
tragic. That's horrible. That might be the end of the world, actually. But I do think that's like a really odd parenting style, knowing where he kind of came from.
Yeah.
Probably like a rougher childhood, probably.
I mean, certainly if the troubled child camp is anything to indicate, I mean, either way, honestly. Like, even if you have an idyllic childhood, it's like, I don't know. I'm not a parent. And so I understand the tremendous difficulty that comes with this stuff, including if you do have to like intervene decisively in something that a child is doing, particularly a child who is not yet fully verbal.
Right.
It's buck wild to do that in front of a reporter.
Yeah. I'll be honest, he probably didn't even think about it. I mean, he just did it. That's just a normal reaction. He probably, it's normal.
Yeah.
It's a normal thing. It's a bop. It's just a bop.
Yeah. And then, of course, they did whole episode of Based Camp about it where they talked about how like it's good and normal actually, and this is just the media out to get us. Because of course everything, something of course we've seen with the show is everything, any negative narrative about a couple that usually gets neutral to glowing media coverage is always like the journalists, they're coming to get us now. They're coming after grist
us.
for the grievance mill, right?
Yeah.
So along with Based Camp, which again I still think is at this point becoming the thing that they are trying to move people toward, the thing that gets them the attention that they want. They also are always talking about their organization, which is pronatalist.org. Just want to point out, because I'm a petty little bitch, on the website contact form, it still has filler text. Like, great work, gang, for not even fucking remembering to make it so that your contact form doesn't say, please note this is for demonstration purposes only. This is a contact form 7 form, which is a free plugin and can be used with Avada as you see below. Further integration into a payment account such as PayPal can be done with additional plugins such as this free one. And then when I click on that, it takes me to the page for contact form 7 add-on in the WordPress.org app directory. Fucking great, man.
This is their thing. They are the pronatalists, and their website is not even serviceable for what they do.
I mean, it just doesn't have the right text.
No.
It depends on what you mean by serviceable.
That's true. It's just giving. It's the pronatalist.org. You know, like take it seriously. Come on.
Should also note, alongside pronatalist.org, there's a couple other projects, and I think we're going to talk more about this on the B side, actually. Malcolm built a learning management system, which is like an electronic tool that is used for curriculum materials in education, which he claims to use to homeschool his children. I'm fucking smashing the doubt button as hard as I possibly can, though, because I played around with that thing and it does not fucking work.
It's
at all.
In the video where he talks about it too, it's really concerning where it's like, you know, we put this thing together. You can use this to teach your kids. It gets better the more everyone uses it. It's like, wait, so this isn't completed yet? Like the thing that you are expecting people to use to teach your homeschooled child with could be wrong and filled with incorrect information or not even accurate at all. But if he's sort of conceding that in that like promotional video that it's like, hey, it might not be perfect yet.
We'll see.
That's bad.
That's the fucking move fast and break things thing, right?
Absolutely.
Anyway, if you would like to hear my professional review, and I genuinely mean as a learning professional, right? Like I have a background in learning design and instruction. If you would like to hear my review of Malcolm Collins's broke ass fucking LMS, patreon.com/illconceived is your one-stop shop for that. And we're going to do it on the B side. We're also going to talk about their religion.
Dude, these really are thinkers. These are just marketplace of ideas.
Yeah,
thinkers.
They're wise. Let's get back to Based Camp, shall we? Because this is really...
That's their main thing.
We've been serving up the appetizer here for a long time, but we should talk about the actual content of the thing. So first thing to note about this show is just the presentation. For some reason that I cannot fucking fathom, rather than just like having a couple microphones hooked into an interface like we do right now, because we are recording together in person, they each are on their own separate computers on a Zoom call.
In the same home.
In what appears to be the same house. 2 different rooms of the same house.
It is sort of a baffling thing. And it's like, you know, at first they just started this era, like at the beginning, it's like, sure, they pulled all this together.
But they've been doing this shit for 3 years now.
And it's still the same setup. It's still a Zoom call in the same locations, sort of barely put together, bad mics, I think.
Horrible mics.
It's just,
they sound like absolute ass.
I would have expected by now that they would have invested in some sort of home studio.
Or like microphones that don't sound like you don't even need a studio. You just need a halfway decent interface and 2 microphones that don't sound like ass. You need to plug it into your computer and you need to press record in literally any DAW. Audacity is free.
A really funny thing that happens in one of the really early Based Camp episodes is so to give some context, Based Camp has sort of become your right-wing politics all-stop shop for everything you could imagine on Twitter. If you are tuned into right-wing Twitter, they're probably talking about those topics. But in one of these really early ones, Simone prompts Malcolm to talk about this subject, and he's like, "Oh yeah, let me explain." And he's about to start talking, and because they're using Zoom, he freezes for like 10 seconds. Just it doesn't like it's just they don't edit it, they don't retake it. Nope. It's just pure straight recording put out like that. It's just astonishing. The quality of their, and this is the thing, this is sort of like their big break. They got all those glowing puff pieces, these profiles. This is they finally made it. They have finally become what they've, I think, been working up to for a long time.
Yeah, they're influencers in a sense, right? They have just over 70,000 subs on YouTube. Generally speaking, their videos get somewhere in the ballpark of like 15 to 20,000 views, which is a respectable number. Mm-hmm. However, I do want to point this out. Scoreboard, which is to say we have over twice as many paid subscribers as them on Patreon.
Wow.
We're also making more money on a monthly basis, even though we charge less for our product.
Thank you, babies. Thank you so much.
That's just the power of our babies. And beyond that, we don't use AI, and they do. They use fucking AI-generated slop imagery for everything.
And probably research, too.
Oh, I would assume so. It's all got to be LLM generated, right? Like, you will have these times where they will talk about a survey and they will summarize points from that survey that do not match the abstract.
We've checked a couple of them.
Yeah. They also, all of their key art, thumbnails, the fucking pictures of them on their Patreon, it's all slop. So all this is to say, we are both more successful than them, and we are also morally superior to them. I just needed to get that out of the way. So beyond presentation, I mean, that's cheap points.
Yeah.
It's funny, and it's worth noting. But the thing that really I find odd about Based Camp as a show is that this is a show that is ostensibly about natalism, right?
I thought that would be the case.
I figured maybe it would be kind of like Bizarro World R show, where they're like looking at the same articles and the same graphs, being like, this is good actually about stuff we think is bad, and vice versa. But no, there's really not very much about reproduction at all in the average episode.
It's sort of used as an aside occasionally from Malcolm in particular.
Right. I mean, except for when they are talking about reproduction in the context of eugenics and race science. Then they kind of lock the fuck in, especially when they get a guest on who is a eugenicist / race scientist, such as, for instance, Edward Dutton, who is really connected with Mankind Quarterly. Remember we talked about them on our Bell Curve episode?
Oh my God, dude. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, the actual evolution of the previous explicit eugenicist newspaper, essentially.
Yeah, and old line actual Nazis. Yeah.
Wow.
If it were me. If I had a podcast about natalism,
I would question a connection like that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's a Nazi,
right?
Working with a eugenicist publication that advocates for race science. I would question that, but of course, I mean, they agree. They more or less agree with these terms. Yeah.
No, exactly. And they would dispute that. They are disputing it right now. I can hear them typing away at the keyboard to send me a very angry email. But the reality of the situation is that when you create a product like this that is all about asking questions and openly asking questions with other people who are asking these questions, some of whom are actual eugenicists, it gives the game away real fucking quick. Mm-hmm. And so I don't need to put together a comprehensive list of reasons that they are eugenicists or point to different examples, because that's playing their little game, and I don't want to play their little game.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially while watching this show together, Josh, you and I watched, I think, 2 episodes, and it sort of is just screeds about whatever topic at hand, something that Malcolm is seemingly obsessed with.
It's what's been coming across his feed in a given week,
absolutely.
Basically.
And a lot of it, of course, because that is the case, he seems to browse 4chan vaguely vaguely, or at least be very aware of it, and Twitter, of course. But he's very obsessed with trans people, like gender ideology.
Very obsessed.
Almost singularly so in a lot of these episodes, where he'll just sort of go on a screed about these topics in the exact way you would imagine you could probably poll anyone from Twitter, put them in his seat, and do just the exact same job that he does.
And they're very careful about like not making strong declarative statements generally. Instead, what they'll do is they'll present a range of opinions that does not represent the actual range of opinions.
Yeah. And he'll say like, oh yeah, the trans people online are saying this and that's he'll do that, but it's not even framing anything correctly. He's of course, because this is, I think, the really cynical part about them that we had known this whole time is they're trying to sort of shift an Overton window. They are keenly aware of how to drive a narrative.
Yep.
Yeah.
And to the point of like the posts that they'll talk about or the people that they will engage with.
They're not subject matter experts. They're just posts from like 200 followed people.
Exactly. They will find random people online with insane opinions, or maybe not even insane opinions, maybe just people who aren't doing a very good job of expressing themselves, and be like, yeah, this fucking account here with 100 followers represents the views of all trans people.
Yeah.
Or to be even more prosaic about it, they've got this idea that like there are the true trans. Like that there's a handful of, particularly if you go back, this seems to have been their position more accurately about 3 years ago. I think they've been radicalized since then. But like the early position seems to be you've got your true transes over here. And then on the other side, you have your what they refer to as trans maxers, who are actually just men. And I always think it's so funny that with these people, transition only ever goes one way, you know? But you've got these men who feel bad about how like beta and low status they are, to which I will say, you're telling on yourself, bud, who then decide that they want to become women.
Because there is social capital to be gained there.
By being women.
Yeah.
And maybe by being trans women specifically, ? Yeah.
It's really odd, especially to see their evolution, because we watched a couple of like his takes around trans people over the years, and that I think that is the first episode of Basecamp is talking about trans maxers, which let me be clear,
it's like I think it's like the second or third episode, but yes,
not a thing. There's he sort of references 4chan in this episode, and I think he's just talking about a thread he saw on 4chan, declaratively as if it's a real thing. Yeah, and of course it's like this is sort of a classic transphobe thing where it's like there are the real trans who I take seriously, and then there's the fake ones who are the ones that do this, you know. I don't even need to fucking get into it because that's giving them too much credit for this.
Again, it's like we don't want to give their arguments credence because
they're stupid. They're insane. He's just reading stuff off of Twitter and making declarative statements. But I think the thing that is notable about this in particular is
making non-declarative statements. That's the other thing. He doesn't make declarative statements. He just says this is something that some people are saying. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I don't know what I think, but sure is interesting.
But I think it is really interesting to frame that up with where they seem to be now, like 3 years later, to actual super modern day, like a week ago or so, when they talk about trans maxers or trans people in that first one, they're like, you know, it's sort of a weird cultural thing, but it's interesting. It's sort of like this sort of thing that's happening that I don't really know. But now he is really declarative of his, like, he views trans people as like a societal ill, like a sign of potential collapse oncoming. He is a lot more intentional in his, I think, sort of red pill. I think he's very red pill. He is very much like an Elon Musk type.
But what's interesting, again, to the point of like the specific rhetoric, to be as specific as possible, because this is a type of rhetoric that we see.
Yeah.
He will not go so far as to say, I think that this is a group of people who are causing degradation.
Right.
What he will say is, there are people out there who are interested in the idea of a degenerate world.
Yes, yeah.
There are these people here who are maybe aligned with, or maybe, just suckered into aligning with these people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so bad. It's so unfortunate that all of these people are being controlled by people who would seek to do them ill, and instead they think of themselves as liberated. It's interesting who he places agency on and who he doesn't, because it's obviously not really, to me at least, what he thinks, but it seems to be something that he is able to square with his own fundamentally lowercase l liberal conception of individuals and individual rights.
Yeah.
Because, to the point of the thing being fundamentally fascist, if you want to square up with what the truth of the thing is, which is that a certain group of people are being identified, are being surveilled, are having rights stripped away in real time by the government.
Like right now. Yeah.
Right now, for something that they fundamentally do not actually control or have agency over, that is ipso facto fascist. But if it's a group of people who need salvation from something that is keeping them in the dark in a way that is deleterious to themselves in their own self-actualization, then the liberal thing to do is to help them self-actualize in a way that they cannot, so long as they remain under control of this ideology.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think notable, we're talking about based camp. We're talking a lot about what Malcolm says and thinks. And, you know, when we started looking at the Collinses, we're like, this is sort of Simone's world.
Not kind of.
It was.
It's Simone's old channel.
It is repurposed
She
for
was
their different
using it
eras.
before she met Malcolm. There's a year's worth of videos.
Yeah, and I something we both noticed really quickly is Based Camp is sort of just like Malcolm going on tears.
Yes.
For minutes straight, editing in pickup audio of him expanding on the things he said in these episodes.
These pickups, by the way,
are like 7 minutes
they
long.
Can be 3 to 7 minutes long.
They're so long. And then it goes back to the original like recording and he's
still going.
talking. And there was just something really striking to me about how this all started as like Simone Collins deal. She clearly had an interest in being like an influencer of some sort, but this is sort of just, and like, to be fair, she does talk every once in a while, but it's mostly probing questions. She's sort of like she probes Malcolm to expand on certain things. She will maybe intro an episode. She'll have a few different observations here and there, but it's really the Malcolm Collins show. Let's be honest.
Even when she asks a clarifying question, more often than not, he just kind of discards the question and keeps going. It should also be noted that in many of the videos, the reason that she can't really talk all that much is that she's too busy trying to keep a kid under control.
Yeah, they often have their children like with recording with them, and like to bring back their bad microphones, you can hear them like cooing over the mic. It's hard to hear them sometimes, and it's you know I don't have kids, but it's probably fun to get your kids involved in like your job and whatever. But like, it's bad content.
It's not. It makes it hard to listen to.
Yeah.
Another big commonality across a lot of episodes of Base Camp is that they're just super fucking preoccupied with the success or failures of other online figures. It is, I would say, about 1/4 just a YouTube drama channel. And I'm not joking.
I genuinely wouldn't have expected because through this whole show I've known about them this almost year, by the way, that we've been doing the show. I've been vaguely aware of them. I've read different profiles. I was like, wow, they are really like this this massive figure in this space. They probably are very elevated, very educational content, whatever. I thought they were going to be this huge force, but yeah, you're right. They're sort of just like Leafy is here.
They've got a fucking video where they spend an hour just litigating drama between Shu and Hassan Piker. And it's like, what are we doing here? Like, genuinely, what is the function of this?
Yeah. It's indistinguishable from any YouTube drama slop at this point, which not what I would have guessed they would be doing as people who I think are genuinely fairly intellectual. I doubt. I mean, they're fried at this point. I think they are so concerned with what's happening online on Twitter. It's sort of their whole world at this point. It is online discourse. So many examples of this in the modern era, especially post Elon Musk purchasing of Twitter, where people have completely fried their brains. And I think they're such a great example of this, especially when you can look at their old output on YouTube on the same channel. They were so much more like normal, calm, I think measured in a lot of regards. And now they're just talking about, like, they're in their 40s talking about like Twitter posters with 200 followers. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's sort of pathetic, honestly. Like, I won't even lie. It's like sort of like, what are we doing here?
Well, not to be like too annoying, like liberal arts student about it, but for me, it's like the ne plus ultra of Guy Debord's like Society of the Spectacle idea that like all actual honest to goodness interrelationships are just replaced by people who are putting on a performance of what connecting with each other looks like. Yeah. And then for them, it's even weirder because they are doing a show where they are performing, watching the performance.
Yeah.
Because they think that that is, well, I don't know, maybe they're just driven to do it constitutionally. Maybe they think it's what people want to see. Maybe it is what people want to see. I don't fucking know.
I mean, it's certainly their most successful iteration.
Yeah.
They've certainly made it to a degree, which I think has always been their plan.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of these puff pieces and profiles were planted. Well, not planted, but they engaged in these. They did this like they did the Reddit proposal, posting on Reddit, referring to their startup at the time. It sort of is a reflection of where we're at now. This is just a replay of a different era we saw of theirs.
The way that they find a way, if they ever do find a way into the conversation, like on a personal level, it's generally by taking their own very specific anecdotal life experiences and then like expanding them out to make these bizarre, unsupported, sweeping value judgments.
Yeah.
So like as an example, there's an episode where they're talking about trans people, of course. And they're doing this kind of like fucking concern trolling thing where they're like, oh, what about a lesbian woman who just doesn't feel attracted to a trans man, you know? Are they not allowed to express their discomfort? And then Simone's like, yeah, it reminds me of when I was in college and a bunch of people wanted to like do a cuddle puddle, but I didn't want to do it.
Oh.
And it's like, well, no, it's not like that.
No.
But also, what the fuck are you talking about? But
yeah,
this goes back also to the broader thing of having these very specific ways of understanding the world that were grounded in bubble-like thinking, and then being like, well, I'm going to break out of my bubble, and then just going in a direction that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
To me.
And no, I think that's been sort of the most baffling thing about observing them. I've sort of felt things I didn't expect to feel, for in particular Simone, sort of to see where she was, where she is now, just sort of baffled at this evolution, this journey that they have gone on.
Yeah.
It's incredibly baffling. It doesn't really make any sense to me.
Because you'll probably have noticed by now, like, we haven't spent that much time talking about natalism this episode, which I guess is form following function because we've been talking about the Collinses. At the end of the day, when it comes to the stuff that they do,
it's like about their businesses. It's about their connections. It's about who they know and how they can use those connections to connect with other people. Right. That's really what their thing is, and actually. They've
seemingly identified natalism as a vector through which they can do these things because it is a buzzy topic of the moment. I do think that they individually are dedicated to the project. They've got 5 kids, and they've also realized that like there is a specific niche here that they can capture connections within. But it's so very different from other figures that we have talked about during our time on this show.
Yeah.
Where we can go and look at, say, a guy like Lyman Stone, who, by the way, is in a holy war with the Collinses.
I didn't know that. Are they really? Why? What
because the Collinses are messy bitches who live for drama.
They are. They love drama. There's drama slap YouTubers. That's what they are.
And
that's
so like,
awesome, dude. Even Lyman Stone, he actually does stuff.
Yeah.
He runs his little natalist organization, his like family research institute.
And generally speaking,
he does stuff for the cause other than just have children and speak at NatalCon, I guess.
Right. And we've talked a bit about some of the things that he has done in his research. And like, I disagree with his prescriptions for a lot of the stuff that he talks about, but generally speaking, his methodology seems to be pretty fucking sound by and large.
Yeah.
I have questions about ulterior motives and things of that nature, but like when they attack him from the perspective of not doing natalism or promoting the natalist project as well as they do. But then it's like, what the fuck are we even doing here? Like, what is the utility of this?
Yeah. It's so weird, dude.
Do you think we can even come up with any sort of cohesive ethos or philosophy Like if we had to describe them in a nutshell in terms of, we know what their deal is.
Yeah.
But like if we had to describe what they see the world as and how that connects to natalism, is that even something we could do?
I don't think so, really. They don't really seem to have any coherent ideology underlying anything they believe. They could change tomorrow, as we've seen them do over the years of what they've done. The main thing that I think nails them down better than anything they believe is just that they view themselves maybe as socialites. Yeah. They view themselves as business individuals. They're business people. What they do is about their business. I mean, they had long been in this tech sphere. When they got married, they started that startup together. That was like very forefront in their mind. They really care about their status. I think natalism is just sort of the convenient thing. Yeah. I think they believe everything they're saying now. I think I'm struggling to really nail this down just because I expected more. Yeah. I expected more, and I'm just kind of coming away from this.
Yeah, I think at their core, they are political animals. And I don't mean political animal in the policy context. I mean, fucking Simone ran for the Pennsylvania House of Representatives and got fucking shellacked.
Yeah.
I mean political animal in the interpersonal context, in the sense that politics and being a political person in a social context is about being able to leverage different people in different organizations to your own ends. And so if we have to describe their politics in a broader sense, like, yeah, I would say at this point particularly, they are essentially fascist because that is the consensus opinion of your typical, like your median X.com, the everything app user.
And the people that they have a lot of connections with through probably dialogue, through this tech world that they came from and still occupy.
But they're sort of a mirror to the world around them more than they are individual drivers and generators of original ideas.
Yeah. I think that's what it is I really thought they were the starting point. Yeah. When we started the show, I was like, we're doing ill-conceived. We're the sort of left look into this world of natalism. Maybe we'll talk about natalism. I always had assumed that the Collins were the far right starting point for natalism. Yeah. They were the thinkers. They were these grandiose figures that were sort of guiding this movement of people that we've identified over the last over every episode we've done. And they're not that. They're sort of just as messy as every other person messier than every other person we've talked about. They're just YouTubers. Yeah. They're kind of just content creators that have their own personal businesses. I don't know. The facade of who they are has sort of washed away, I think. All the profiles help make them seem a lot more important and sort of grandiose than I think they are. They're really good at media.
Yes.
They're really good at it.
They're very good at media.
Yeah.
When you get enough media coverage from credulous people, particularly credulous people who are writing for outlets with big names, it grants you an appearance that might be based on very, very little.
Yeah. Seeing where they are, how they frame themselves up as the natalist goofy family. Yeah. They have funny glasses. They have a lot of kids. They're living this odd, idyllic life in Pennsylvania.
Right. They're sort of trad, but sort of not.
Yeah, they're just kind of goofy and interesting. I think when we started the show, we wanted to analyze natalism and look into this world, kind of figure out what's going on. I think this is the ultimate example of it's exactly sort of the thing I sort of thought this always was. It's not really a concern really about birth rate. Sure, some of these people might have concerns about birth rate, but of course it always comes back to white birth rate.
I mean, Malcolm genuinely holds the concern. That much is clear.
Yeah, but that's not what they're about, though. What it's about is that they are public-facing media figures where they can have an audience, but it is ultimately about all of their other pet peeves and different reactionary opinions that they can get out. Because if just based on content we consumed, they talk a lot more about trans people, a lot more about these other weird cultural, social issues that most people aren't thinking about day to day.
Yep.
Natalism isn't the thing for natalists generally. It's a thing they believe. Yep. It's just sort of a convenient entry point for a lot of people, I think, on some of these topics. It's a really good radicalization tool.
With all that said, though, I do want to look into some of their much goofier shit, which we didn't quite do on this main episode. So, again, if you just can't get enough of Malcolm and Simone Collins, you can look forward to our B-side next week, which we will release, as always, to patreon.com/illconceived. We're going to be talking about their religion. We're going to be talking about their revolutionary plans to change schooling forever.
Oh, God.
They're a bit out over their skis. Let's put it that way.
I think that's what's so wild about them is it's hard to take anything they do seriously.
Yeah. But we're glad that you take us seriously. So until next time, we love you, babies.
Good night.
And good night. Oh, we're going to tuck you in.
I'm doing it right now. I'm doing like a little tuck in motion. Yeah, I got one side. I'll get the other side now.
Go to sleep. And your dreams. There's a world of pure natalization. Season 3 starts in 2 weeks. Bye!